Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me? Can you see me? Hello, everyone. Guys, we are on time. It is 8 p.m. Eastern. Welcome to my, once again, webinar on awesome exotic cars. Today, we are going to learn how to buy, drive, and own 150K plus R8 for nothing. And you don't even have to be a millionaire to play this game. So please, please, please introduce yourselves. We're going to give everybody a few minutes to just join us as they log in and try to figure out this very fancy webinar thing. I'm not an IT person, so it's equally hard for me. Go ahead and introduce yourselves. It's always good if you can tell me what state you're from. I always like to know who's on here and the state they're actually from, because some of this stuff does change from state to state. So if you are here from, obviously I would hope the United States, the UK, Canada are the only places this is really going to work. Anywhere else is completely pointless, so you're wasting your time. And welcome to this awesome webinar. So we got some people from Cleveland, North Carolina, a bunch of people from Florida. It works fantastic in Florida. We've got Canadians on, fantastic. It works very well in Canada as well. So welcome, welcome, guys. Okay, I see that. A lot of cool people from a lot of cool places. Chicago, I was just in Chicago. More Florida, Texas works great in Texas. Georgia, the tax laws work great in Georgia. New York, Mexico, New York, UK, Canada. Okay, California, New York. All right, awesome. I'm glad that we have people from the right places. So at least we're not going to be wasting a lot of time talking to people who cannot use this strategy. So far, almost every single one of you are from a part of the United States, Canada, or the UK where this works. I see Alex is from Romania. Unfortunately, this will not work in Romania. You're still welcome to, of course, attend this webinar. But unfortunately, it does not work outside of those places I mentioned. So welcome, guys, to my welcome, guys, to my awesome webinar on how to buy, drive, and own 150K plus R8 for nothing, and without even having to be a millionaire to buy it in cash. I have done these webinars for quite some time. I cover different cars from time to time. The R8 seems to be one of the most popular cars, which is why I have decided to put on a very, very informative webinar today for you guys on this particular car. Every year and every type of R8 that is going to work with my system will be covered, and there's quite a lot of amazing information in this webinar. Now, one of the things I promised to you, as I always make promises before wonderful webinars, I will show you exactly step by step, and I've taken extra steps in this webinar to cover as much detail as I can on every aspect of buying the Audi R8 and not having to pay for it. So even if you don't know how the system works, you've never watched one of my previous webinars, you don't know what model to buy, you don't have a lot of money, you're not a millionaire, or that you're afraid of maintenance costs, it makes no difference. You're going to learn quite a bit by the end of this. And to all of you guys that are doing the chat thing, like I said, this system works in the United States, in every state, including California. Now, this does not work or has not been tested outside of the United States, Canada, and the UK. It will not work in Asia. Now, some people have made it work in Australia, but I have no way to know that this indeed does or does not work in Australia because I have never tested it, nor have I seen any documentation to know if it works or not. So again, my promise to you is that I'm going to show you exactly how to do this with the Audi R8 and drive it pretty much for free as long as you can. So let's go ahead and get into this. If you actually stay with me till the end of this webinar, I will give you absolutely free a private case study of my own that I've had in the past, and it will break down my personal ownership costs down to the cents, you know, of my documents, etc. when I bought it. Now, this is the exact car from where I took that photo. When I first, at the time, the V10 had just kind of come out. This is the this was a 2009 Audi R8 V8. So let's get into the exact webinar itself. Please, guys, this is just a respect thing, super important. Please, please, please turn off your cell phones. You know, if you're doing other things with the web currently, just get off that, or Facebook. I say this because, you know, a lot of people get kicked off the webinar because they're opening other programs and other tabs, and then they can't get back in. And I get a lot of emails again saying, please, you know, let me back in. It's not like I'm doing this on purpose. So just focus on this. It's not going to be that long. Get in as much information as I can. If you're a car enthusiast and you are serious about getting a car or no longer want to lose money on cars, then I'm going to teach you something in the next 90 minutes that is going to make you rethink how you look at exotic cars and also what's possible or what not. You can do this with more than just the R8. This particular webinar is, of course, focused on the Audi R8. Now, what would you do if, and only if, you knew how to buy an exotic without needing to be a millionaire, or you required to pay cash? Many people have this misafford. You shouldn't buy it. That's typically people who don't own exotic cars, and typically people who don't understand how money works. But we're going to show you, you know, that's very much possible. Now, this is the bill for you see on top for my McLaren. What if you knew how to drastically reduce your cost of ownership by avoiding huge repair bills? Now, this system works with a lot of exotic cars and it saves quite a lot of money. It does not work with the McLaren in terms of the maintenance, but every other exotic it does, including the R8, which we're going to see. Most people pay that kind of money, even for an R8 at the dealership, meaning to service their cars, and they don't know how to avoid that. I'm going to teach you that. And of course, you know, having it is your network. And personally, most people on the street don't know what I teach, meaning most people in lines and clubs not know what things cost, you know, meaning that I don't understand the difference between, you know, looking at R8 and looking at a Ferrari and what are all the products, and the fact that you didn't have to wait in line because you have to park your car up front. Now, if you could drive your car without any restrictions, unlike a lease, and you didn't have to worry about penalties or about returning it. So these are some of the things that you need to consider and you need to start thinking about. And of course, my favorite, so many people dream of exotic cars thinking they're unreachable. They dream of these one-off cars that, you know, one day they'll make their big goal. But after you see this webinar, you might actually consider how much closer than your dream is. So it's time to stop dreaming and instead time to start taking action to make it a reality. And, you know, one of the things that I always say, I have this line and I say, life is better in an exotic. And it's not just that I know, I use that line in a lot of things, but also people that I teach strategies to. We're going to focus on the R8 specifically. Jeff here in our own very own private Facebook group here at Exotic Car Hacks, showcasing his new V10 achievement, which he bought with the Exotic Car Hack strategy. He also bought his Aston Martin the same way. CJ here picked up his 09 R8 6-speed, a phenomenal car, and again posted it and all the options that go with it. Anthony here posted, again, just enjoying his R8. Again, you see my saying right there, life is better in an exotic, in the comments. So, you know, this is something that you just need to understand. Like, it's just, life is just better in an exotic, especially when it doesn't have to cost you money. So before we begin, many of you do know me. I've seen that you guys mentioned my name in the introduction. So I appreciate those of you that follow me all over the place. But for those of you that do not know me, and if I'm some crazy person talking some crazy game, well, I have a background in a lot of this stuff. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is, I go by PJ. I've owned over 70 luxury and exotic cars over the last 5 years, and I am not a dealer, meaning I do not sell and buy cars as a dealer, not, you know, trade like a dealer. Now, I leverage a lot of dealers. I'm going to teach you how to do that, but I went from being an illegal immigrant to a self-taught millionaire by the age of 27. And I'm the founder of multiple 7-figure businesses, both online and offline. And I recommend that you actually Google me, because if you do, you'll notice that I've been featured in a ton of different places for a lot of the work I do with entrepreneurship and business, as well as in some places for credible strategy that I use for exotic cars and watches. And today we're going to talk about the R8, but if you do put my name in Google, you'll see a lot of that stuff come up. I've been around for some time. I'm not just a guy that started a YouTube channel. And just for the record, I was very, very well off prior to starting Exotic Car Hacks or Secret Entourage. But, when I started playing with cars, I was no different or anyone else that is starting up from the ground up. These are just some of the cars I've owned. Again, you can see here, there's the CL65, the SL65 Black Series, super rare car, the LP560, my R8, which is the same one I showed you in the picture of the case study right there with me standing on it. That white Vanquish, which is still the Aston Martin Vantage, the 911, the Gallardo, the Huracan. It's just a cycle of just more and more awesome cars. So, I hope that you guys will have the benefit of being able to take advantage of this like I have, so that you too can see what it's like to be, in an exciting you're going to start. Originally, when I started up, I worked when I was really young. I was a 3-month away. I looked at a car. And prior to this, I really didn't know much about the car scene or anything else other than I wanted cool cars. So I didn't understand how credit worked. I didn't understand what credit I needed. All I knew is to walk out with whatever car payment I could afford and whatever car I thought was cool. And so in my early years, you can see here, I had a Firebird, a Cobra, and so I had all of these different cars. And as a result of it, doing what most people do, which was lose money. But there was a turning point. So what was the turning point? Well, I ended up buying my dream car, which for me was the Porsche 911 Turbo at the age of 21 for $80,000. And I decided to sell it 2 years later for a Lamborghini. It settled for $82K, 2K total loss in 2 years. So, when I bought my first Lambo at age 23 for $80K, and then I decided to sell it again, what ends up happening is I noticed that with the exotic cars, you end up actually losing less money. And in many cases, I made money like on a Lamborghini, where, it ended up selling for $13K above what I paid. So, it was just a concept that was really new to me. I didn't understand it, and I didn't understand why. But I started seeing that the more I played with exotic cars, the more there was this pattern that came up. And so I finally figured out the secret. And now I've replicated it time and time again with a lot of different cars. 70 plus to be exact. Now, the important thing to notice is that I didn't make a lot of money with every car. Some cars I broke even and drove free. Others, I ended up making money. And a very few, I ended up losing money, but not enough to care. In this instance, look at the Mercedes SL65 AMG Black Series. I made $18,800 in profit after 2 months of ownership. That case study is at exoticcarhacks.com, where I break it down for members. The Lamborghini Huracan, a New York car, I tested something new. I ended up losing some money. Almost a little bit under $700 per month was what I lost. That's the lease on a really well-equipped Lexus truck, but it's a Huracan. So that's the big difference. I wanted to play with something new. I took a little bit of a loss, but you know what? Still enjoyed it. One of my favorite all-time cars, the Aston Martin ABS. Most people pay like $2,000 a month to own one. I was making $1,000 plus a month for 10 months owning one, and I customized the crap out of it. Taking in all of that, I still made money. The Maserati Gran Turismo S, a favorite amongst many, many people. Made $9,500 in profit from 5 months of ownership, including the fact that I put some beautiful wheels on it. And so this was the key, like some incredible mods and still able to walk away with some money in pocket. And, ultimately what I want you to see from these case studies is not bragging to make money, but it's because it's important to first believe that things are possible, to then keep an open mind and learning the process to make them so. In 1997, that was the first car I shared with my mom in California. It was a Ford Probe. It was not a 1997. I think actually it was 1987. It was old. It was beat up. At some point, we used to sleep in the back of that car. And in 2017, those were 3 cars that were in my garage at the time. Actually, 2 of them still reside in my garage right now. Not because I can't sell them, because I don't want to. I like them too much. And that would be the Aston Martin Vanquish Volante Carbon White and my McLaren 570S with one of the highest stickers in the country at 260. So, a lot of opportunities, but first I need you guys to believe that things are possible. This is the key to having a good learning here based on the webinar I'm going to share with you today. So if you're ready to learn, and I know some of you were perhaps experiencing a little bit of lag in the audio and the video, etc., most of you can reconnect. But for those of you that are here with me right now, that are still watching, still hearing me, go ahead and put hell yeah in your chat box. Just let me know that you guys can still hear and see me well by putting hell yeah. Oh, I get a lot of, okay, I see the energy. I love it. I appreciate you guys very much, but yeah, keep putting them in. I see that. I see a lot of people just, okay, you're still here, so I'll make sure I didn't lose you. All right, awesome. Now, just keep in mind, as it says on the screen, we will turn off chat during the lesson so you can focus. A lot of times we get people talking between each other during the lesson, so I don't want to keep you guys distracted. I want you guys focused, and like I said, I know you guys believe it's possible. I see the hell yeah. I want you guys to be able to now specifically focus on the information I'm going to share, and it's going to be a lot of it. So I recommend that you take a notepad, you get a pen and paper, and you take some notes, because some of this stuff, for those of you that are watching and are really interested in the R8 specifically, you'll want to take notes on. Well, there'll be a replay, but for now, just be focused and ready to work. Okay. Now, some disclaimer I got to put out there. These results are not typical. Now, that's kind of a bullshit statement. I have to say that. But let me tell you a little bit about the reality of how the system works. I'm going to walk you through the system we're using, and we've been getting great results with it in the US, Canada, and in some cases the UK. Now, please understand that what I'm teaching you here in this webinar is based on years of experience doing this, not just doing my first deal. Meaning I've been doing this for a long time, and I still continue to do this with my own car. So I'm not teaching you something old. I'm teaching you something relevant that I'm still working in. The more you do this, the better you get with your opportunity to do these deals, etc. And remember that what's in the webinar is just the tip of the iceberg, right? There's a lot that we teach, a lot more that we teach at exoticcarhacks.com, which is why I want to make sure that you understand that just based on a webinar alone, you're not going to get the best possible results. You're just going to understand the concept as a whole. And you're going to understand everything there is to understand about the R8 here. But for the most part, I want to make sure you understand that, you can get these results once you understand the core of what we do and how well we do it based on our entire course broken down from A to Z, not just the webinar. This is not for people who just want to get rich quick and just flip a car and make some money overnight. That doesn't work that way. This is not a work at home kind of biz op. It's for people who love cars, because we understand as car people, as enthusiasts, that there is, a price we're willing to pay to play. But at the same time, we don't like losing money. Why should you lose money on something you love to do, right? So I look at this system as a way to drive a car for free. And if you can also get really good at the system and leverage it and make money out of it, then I always say, why not, right? So, learn to drive a car free, make some bucks along the way, be happy, you'll walk away with some money in your pocket, and more importantly, the joy of having had an R8 as an enthusiast without the cost. Now, here are the 3 things, the 3 secrets we'll cover in this particular webinar. The current R8 market, current information, not like something that was good 6 months ago, but something that is current right now, as of like yesterday. And exactly what models you should be looking for specifically. We're going to look at the exact cars that have issues and what to be aware of, as well as the maintenance costs typically associated with this car. And of course, then we're going to cover the complete how to buy, drive, and own an Audi R8 completely free. Now, I'm going to give you, again, remember for you, those of you that stay at the end, you'll be mailed a case study specifically to my very own car, just as an added bonus. But you'll definitely get a lot of exposure to what's happening in the R8 market based on this webinar. Now, let's get into it, and let's look at the first thing we need to cover, the current R8 market and exactly what models you should be looking for. Now, this is really, really important. There's some differences between these two cars. Can you actually tell the differences? I mean, if you look here, we have two R8s, and they look pretty similar. They're a little bit different, but they do look similar. Now, even though they look nearly similar, they're really not, right? So while identical overall, meaning they're the same body, they're the same shape, and most people couldn't distinguish them, you guys can because you're enthusiasts for the most part. But there is something to be said that while both of them are V10s, right, and fantastic, there's still a $43,000 difference between the 2010 and the 14 Audi R8. So, if you are looking for just getting in your R8, wouldn't $43,000 savings be worth it to you? It would make sense, right? Like to not overspend $43,000. The thing that's even worse is that in 2014, the MSRP was $191,000 and the 2010 was $175,000, meaning in just 2 years, the 14 model lost $60K, 32% depreciation, while the 2010 you saw lost $85K, 50% depreciation in 6 years. So the news here is that R8 values have dropped tremendously. And they're starting to hit this rock bottom, what I call the bottom cash value, where they're not going to move from there except for mileage and condition. And this creates an incredible opportunity for you, people who want to buy an R8 now rather than actually sell one. So you have a great opportunity right now, especially if you're buying now, to get into an R8 at a significantly high discount. So, but before you get in an R8, you actually have to understand all the different models of that are out there and what the differences are between all of them. Most of you who are enthusiasts may already know this information. I cover it so everybody can be on the same page and gain tremendous value from understanding what we're talking about here in this webinar. All R8s, both the V8 and V10 over the production years, 08 to 15 are pretty much the same car. There's 5 different models that were offered, the V8 Coupe Spider, the V10 Coupe Spider, and GT. And the only major differences was in 2014 with the introduction of the dual clutch technology called the S-tronic. The exterior had a redesigned set of headlights, taillights, and some components of the bumpers. And of course, the V10 Plus option was available in 2014, giving you 25 more horsepower, carbon ceramic brakes, and some coilovers. Now, in 08 to 09, the V8 Coupe was there, the 10, the V8 and V10 Coupe, in 11, the V8 and V10 Spider, and then in 12, the R8 GT and Spider. Very few units were produced. In 13, there's 0 cars produced. In 14, redesign, and then the S-tronic, and then the V10 Plus. And of course, in 2015, there's no change from 2014. I remember that in 2017 was the introduction of the new body R8, which is why it's created a tremendous opportunity for people here with these specific cars here, which are a little bit older. Now, there's important options to understand here about the cars themselves, and that there's 3 transmissions offered. And this is in order of resale, meaning the transmission you want in this specific order. You either want a manual 6-speed first, if you can find one, then you want an S-tronic, which is 2014, 2015, and then finally an R-tronic. Now, it doesn't mean that there's no opportunity in R-tronic, but in order of high, meaning manual cars are going to bring in more money, S-tronics next, and then R-tronics. You definitely want a carbon fiber blade, assuming you have the right color. Now, in any case, you want a carbon fiber blade, but you want to make sure that, even if you don't have one, you're still getting a good color combination. You want the extended leather package, which means that the dash is not covered in that plastic, but it's fully covered in leather all the way. And you want the premium package, which has the reverse camera, the hill hold assist, the parking sensors, which are standard on the V10, but not so much on the V8. The Bang & Olufsen stereo, which is also standard on the V10, but not so much on the V8. These are options that you want. Now, if I had to say something here, The stereo isn't the end of the world if you don't have it. And it's also not an option that's worth paying more for. It's just a good thing if you do have it. Now, we covered a little bit about the actual, cars it's themselves. So let's cover the actual issues to be aware of and the maintenance cost of the R8. The known issues to look out for in this car. First off is you want to make sure you invest in a pre-purchase inspection. We refer to that in the industry as a PPI. The PPI will check for just the functionality of the car prior to buying it used. Most of these cars will be out of warranty, and therefore the number one thing you can do is equip yourself to make sure that as soon as you buy it, you're not assuming the repairs of the previous owner, but you're forcing them to fix it so that you can have a joyful experience with your car rather than a headache and a large bill right out of the gate, right? The point is to kind of mitigate your risk by making sure you're buying a clean and well cared for car. Things you want to typically look out for that dealers or people don't necessarily disclose but do go bad on these cars. The magnetic suspension, especially in the earlier 08, 09s, can leak and then lead to failure. The new GT 2012 and the V10 Plus in 2014 are exempt. The clutch wear, yes, R-tronic and S-tronic cars actually have clutches. The R-tronics do wear faster than the S-tronics. And most of them still are on factory clutches because people don't put that many miles on them. Nonetheless, we've had to change clutches a few times in R8s. And I can tell you, there's ways to do it using my system, not so expensively, but why assume the cost when a PPI can be done to check how much wear there is left. You want to look for the AC compressor. This is something that can get expensive with the R8, and it is known to fail. And in order to fix, you have to take out the motor for the V8. So just be cautious of that. Make sure that the AC works great. Abused, meaning stay away from cars that have actually had twin turbo upgrades or rentals, track cars, or have been completely cut up to be created as wide body cars. It's not that they're bad all the time and they're automatically crap, but in most cases, the R8, especially the earlier models, were not as friendly to mods and to usage that's rough. So those cars typically, and twin turbo cars typically have bad transmissions because the transmissions can't handle the 700 plus horsepower that the twin turbo cars have. The insurance is something that many people are scared of because they're like, oh, the R8's an exotic. I don't want to eat the insurance costs. I can't afford it. Right on the side here, this is an insurance quote for a normal under 30 individual that has a decent driving record. 99% of insurance providers will provide insurance for the R8. It's not considered an exotic to all. It's only considered an exotic to people on the street, but the actual insurance companies look at it as a normal Audi since it wears that badge. So luckily for you, insurance rates are much better and cheaper than a lot of other cars. You do have to maintain somewhat of a good driving record. Anytime you have an exotic, it comes with a high level of responsibility and care for what you have, meaning you have to be cautious and obviously not be a jackass and drive like an idiot. So in this case, if you maintain a decent, even if you have a few infractions, just a decent good driving record, you should be fine. We insured our R8 right there. You can see that right on your screen. And again, $741 over 6 months, which means that's less than one large latte from Starbucks per day for the insurance on an R8, which is phenomenal. It's not expensive. A lot of people think it's very expensive to insure an exotic like an R8. What are the maintenance costs? Like what is it that you can expect when you own the car? So first off, investing in an actual PPI like we talked about can save you thousands, right? Because you want to make sure you're not eating any of the costs from the previous owner right from the top, right? That's important. Buying the right car will help you avoid these, operating costs in general. And remember what I always said, never go to the dealer unless you have to. Meaning like 99.9% of all repairs on an R8 can be done outside of the dealership for a fraction of the cost. I cover this entire list of shops you can use across the United States and in some places of Canada in the Exotic Car Hacks course where I break down the shops and how to use them. But in this case here, let's look at oil changes. This should cost you roughly $200 every 5,000 miles. Brake pads should cost you roughly $400 in parts. Brake rotors should cost you roughly $1,000 for the parts. And tires, you're going to roughly get for around $700. And again, it depends on the brands you use. We've used a normal brand like a Pirelli to kind of quote this, not some generic Korean brand or something retarded like that. But here, this gives you an idea of what to expect if you're going to be racking up miles on your car and not just kind of weekending it and doing it and driving it once in a while. And it's important to know because even though I'm going to show you how it's free, you still may have a cost of ownership while you own the car that is important to know kind of what you're getting into, right? So here's the breakdown of how to buy, drive, and own an Audi R8 completely free. This is like the buying shortcuts that you need to kind of look at, like what kind of car should you look at to buy so that you can be in a good position and actually not have a cost. On the V8, if you like the V8, we prefer the V8 coupes and the V10 coupes from a personal driving standpoint. The coupes do better than the Spyders. The 2009 model year coupe does phenomenal. The manual transmission is a must. And the mileage to be under 30K, the car can be had for under 73K. I've had a lot of examples where our students have bought R8s in the 60s, high 60s for manual cars, or low 70s, depending on how well they're following the course. The V10 Coupe, which is, I think, a phenomenal car, and really a very different car than the Gallardo V10. A lot of people think they share the same engine, but Lamborghini and Audi did not share the same engine until 2017, where the Huracan and the Audi V10 Plus now share the same engine. But previous to that, the V10 Coupe had its own Audi V10. And the 2010 model year, even the 2011 model year, do well for the V10 Coupe. Manual transmissions are harder to find, but I mean, if you can find them, I really push for them because really there's a huge opportunity to even make money now with the manuals kind of starting to trend the other way, trending up instead of down. The mileage, you want to look for a car under 20K. And again, the price, you want to be paying under 90K. I know a lot of you always email or message or chat box, like how much do I need to pay? But this is kind of the dollar value you want to put kind of as max of what you're willing to pay. For those of you that wonder about the 2014 V10 Plus or 2015 V10 Plus or even the 2012 GT, I don't necessarily recommend those cars. I think that they are a little bit still high and are still going to continue to see a drop factor. And so I recommend to wait a little bit and yet not get into those cars just yet. But keep an eye on them. Sometimes you find a deal of a lifetime. It may or may not be worth it. And if you already know my strategies, then you already know how to talk people down. There may be an opportunity, but now you know about the V8 and V10 Coupe. Now, where do you find these deals, right? Like, where do you look for these R8 deals? Well, there's a complete list of sites I cover in my course, but here are some of the basic ones that you could be looking at to kind of gauge the market and look at what's available out there. I love eBay because it's a live kind of look at what people are moving in and out of. R8talk.com, cars.com, autotrader.com, and of course there's a lot of Facebook groups like Audi R8 specific, 6speedonline.com, cargurus.com, audesign.com. These are just some of the places specific to the Audi R8. There's a lot more places, you know, of course on our website, but this is just giving you a good idea of where to get started, and this should keep you busy for a little bit. Now, buying an actual, you know, R8, how do you actually do it? Well, you have to have good credit. Now, it says here you have to have a 700 minimum, but realistically, a 680 can still get this done. It'll cost you just a tiny bit more per month, but a 680 and above is considered good credit and can get you into an Audi R8. You have to have a history of car loans as it helps with your rate, but it isn't mandatory. You see, the R8 now is cheap enough of a car that it's a unique opportunity, even if you've never owned a car before, to still be able to get financing for an R8 100%. Banks really like them because their loan to value is usually very strong for them, so they don't mind doing these deals with zero down. And most of our members have purchased their R8 with no money down, not even for their sales tax. So one lender that we recommend, which, you know, in our course we'll recommend many lenders. Like, we have different lenders that we've worked with that I think do a great job at giving you very, very low rates. But one that we recommend, just because we want to make sure you guys still have something to use right now, is Digital Federal Credit Union, DCU.org. And that's a great place for good rates, and they usually do cars that are older with longer terms without requiring down payments. Now, the actual buying process. Obviously, you have to find the right R8. That's like super important. You have to decide on the V8 or V10 and search the best years, which we kind of talked about. You want minimal wear on the actual consumables, which are your tires and brakes, meaning that you want a car that has some clutch life left and that has, you know, decent tires and brakes for the next few thousand miles. You want a clean Carfax car, no accidents, and no paintwork. Now, with the R8 getting older, just so we're clear, when we say no paintwork, we mean that there has been no accidents and there has also been no panels repainted. The only thing that is an acceptable repaint is if the front bumper was repainted and was repainted without damage, just based on rock chips, and the job was done professionally. Well, that does not necessarily hurt the car value, but it's preferred if it's not there either. You identify well-optioned cars from those top sites. We already gave you the options and the sites to look at. And remember that most people will not look at a car without warranty, but remember these cars are getting older now. Many of them will come without it. Thanks to all the prepping we do and teach you on our website, I wouldn't worry about warranties as much as you used to think back in the days when people said that if you didn't have a warranty on your Ferrari, Lamborghini, or exotic car, you would go bankrupt. Times have changed, and the R8 is a very easily fixed car by many mechanics outside of specialty mechanics. But again, we have a full list of dealer shops outside of your dealership to use in case you do need work to be done. The buying process, don't be afraid to shop nationwide. Local may be easier, but remember, the best deals are not always down the street. So you have to PPI, meaning do not pay the $500 to PPI. You have to do that to make sure that the car is clean. You don't want to inherit the problems of the previous owner. Negotiate down the asking price to as close to wholesale value using the PPI inspection as leverage, meaning if there's anything that is not perfect on the car, negotiate that into the price. We teach you that entire strategy again on our site. Then secure long-term financing with zero down for low monthly payments. Hey, listen, that you have money or not, nobody likes to have a $5,000 car payment, a $2,000 car payment, or a $3,000 car payment. Everybody should manage their cash flow accordingly, especially with today's low interest rate environment. So, you know, if you can get into an R8 with 84 months, you may say, well, that's crazy to finance a car every 4 months, but if the rate is low and you're not paying a lot of interest, and on top of that, you're actually able to not keep the car for the full 84 months anyways, then who cares about the fact that it was 84 months? It just helps leverage your cash flow so you don't have to waste your money. Now, the exit strategy, enjoying your actual car, you have to make sure you don't crash it or getting any fender benders. Yes, crashing a car changes the dynamic of the game. So if you hit something and end up repainting stuff, even if it's off the Carfax and the shows, that will eventually end up hurting the values. Modifications enhance the experience, but don't always add value. I've been able to do mods because I use very high quality parts at a fraction of the dollar, which I teach a lot of our members how to get parts for, 10, 20, 30 cents on the dollar. And then it makes sense if the parts are quality. But in most cases, people who don't know my strategies and go spend 10, 15 grand on an exhaust, 20 grand on wheels and suspension, typically will lose money. So don't be that guy. Try to limit any exotic miles to 5,000 per year. It doesn't mean you're getting a penalty over that, but you have to understand that cars do change in terms of the dynamics of what you're buying. When you have a 10K mile car, it's different than a 15K mile car, different than a 30K mile car. So try to keep or limit your miles to under 5,000 per year so that you can enjoy the car without having any significant costs. Maintain the car as needed, and of course, if you do use any type of shop, regardless of the ones I recommend or any ones by your house that you trust, make sure you keep all your records and receipts. Now, the exit strategy, after about 6 to 9 months of actually enjoying the car, start planning your ability to exit it. Even if you love the car, try to see if it makes sense to exit it at that point, or if you bought it so right and the mileage was so low that you can keep enjoying it, and just do just that. But after 6 to 9 months, if you are ready to get out and probably upgrade to a Lamborghini, Ferrari, or something like most people, then start planning your exit. Relist the car and position the car in a strong ad on the same sites you just browsed, eBay and forums. Aim to sell your RA slightly above market value or break even or even profit. It depends on how well you position your ad, the way I break it down step by step so that you can understand exactly why cars bring a premium and which ones do. Here's the madness behind the math behind the madness to an Audi R8. You see, we send out these newsletters to our members every single week, which right here you can see it says the 2008 Audi R8, and it has a sales price and of course a target price of what you should be paying. So that way every week you know exactly what you should pay for the cars that matter to you. Now this car particularly was a 2008 Audi R8 V8. The mileage was 22,000 miles. It was a 6-speed manual Bang & Olufsen sound system. The maintenance had the 50K service. Now it didn't have 50K, but remember, what's important is that if the car is old enough, it needs to have different services. So this car had the 50K service, and the brakes and rotors were in good shape. Car had new tires. The MSRP originally new for this V8 was $145,000, and the sales price here, the sale price was $72,400. Now remember that the sale price is not what they're selling for; it's what they're asking for. The price you want to be paying is $67,000 as an example, or as close as you can at a number. If we use that number in your finance, now when you say $67,000 may seem high, that's still above what MMR is, which is dealer wholesale, meaning that the dealer at 67 is still going to make some money. So don't think that this is the deal of a lifetime. This is a very typical type of scenario I want you to see. I'm not showing you the one-off example that'll never happen. I'm showing you the most typical example of an R8 that's 08 or 09 with a 6-speed transmission. The financing here would be 0 down with 900 a month over 84 months, and your target selling price to exit the car is $72,000. So because you know how to position it and market it, you're going to do better than a dealer, especially when you're not a dealer. So total cost of ownership is completely free if you take in account these numbers on this particular R8. So here's what we've covered so far. We've covered the entire R8 market and exactly what models you should be looking for. We've covered the important issues to be aware of and the maintenance costs. And we've also covered this third secret, which is how to buy, drive, and own an Audi R8 completely free. Now, let me ask you a question. We're going to enable the chat for you to be able to, of course, answer this. We're off of the chat disabled, so now you can use your little box there and write stuff for me. So again, what car do you want to buy? Do most of you want to buy an R8, or is there other cars you have in mind while you're here on this webinar? I know that a lot of people love the R8, but again, I know many of you have mentioned different cars earlier on, so that's why I want to make sure that I'm kind of talking about the stuff that you guys are looking for. So I see a couple of R8s. I see a 458, the Huracan, okay, very cool, the E60 M5. All of these cars work great with the system. The McLaren 570S, a car of my own heart, another 2009 R8, twin turbo 911, okay, SLS, Ferrari FF. Okay, so there's a few dreamers there with the LaFerrari and all that shit, but reality is, with those of you that are actually answering this the correct way, not taking this as a joke, a lot of the cars you're mentioning, like the Huracan, the E60, all the R8s, the Aston Martin, the Gallardos, the Ferrari, the MP4s, the 570Ss, they all work with the system. So everything we learned here that was maybe geared towards the R8, but it does specifically work with all the cars you guys are mentioning here, which is fantastic because we see 99% of you have realistic expectations for the cars you want, which are real exotics that people can be driving. So, I mean, many of you may know already about the shortcut I'm talking about, but if you don't, if a shortcut existed so you take the guesswork out and told you exactly what cars to buy, what to pay, and how to effectively negotiate so that you never lose money, this is what I'm here to offer you now. So I want to know if you guys are even interested in hearing about how to actually take the guesswork out and make sure you never lose money on a car again. How to drive down the negotiation costs down to almost nothing, right? And make sure you're buying some of the premium best cars out there at a fraction of what people are buying them for without having to go to auction, without having a dealer license. This is important. I see a lot of yes, so I love this. I love the excitement and the energy. And, you know, these guys here, which are my students, they know the shortcut. Again, I'm posting screenshots from our Facebook group. So this is not some random guy that posts on his thing. He posts in my group. So, you know, Emmanuel bought this R8 and proved that the strategies I teach are, of course, applicable everywhere. And like I said earlier, he's doing it in Australia. I can't vouch for Australia working. So I'm telling you, I'm being as honest as I can. I don't know if it works in every instance in Australia. Our members say it does, but again, this is up to you if you're in Australia, because I cannot guarantee it works. It worked for Emmanuel, but again, that's something that I haven't personally used. Hunter here did this again with the R8 at a phenomenal price. This was actually, you want to laugh a little bit, this was the exact car I showed you on that list earlier. So this one of our members actually bought it. And again, look at what he paid, $70,500. We said the selling price was going to be 72, so he has a 2K margin. So to drive it as much as you want and then get rid of it. And again, what did we talk about? The 6-speed manual being a hot car, right? So again, very important. Peter bought this stunning R8 V10 last year. What you don't see is this plate that says Deaf Kid. It just shows that anyone can enjoy an exotic, and even if you're disabled, that shouldn't stop you. So now let me ask you another question. I seem to love asking you guys questions, right? So would you rather have a lease on a shitty Volkswagen, right? Which I know the Audi is technically a Volkswagen, but would you rather have a shitty high volume Volkswagen like the CC, pay $359 a month and have to pay $3,000 at signing, lose all your money, and then just have a CC which no one gives a shit about? Or would you rather buy and drive an Audi R8 the way I've been teaching you without having that loss? And that is the key part, is that, you know, with the R8, you might have a little bit of a higher monthly payment up front, but remember that you're not actually paying the money, right? You're simply transferring it into your loan and then getting it back out. So this is the important thing. You know, like with the CC, it's not worth shit as a lease or not. With the R8, it's always going to kind of keep that R8 value, which is why it just works. So, you know, I want to tell you guys a little bit about kind of what I've been working on, the Exotic Car Hacks project. As I told you earlier, I was losing a lot of money on cars that weren't exotics, and then I figured out, and I figured out how to do this with exotic cars. And so, you know, when I started learning how to do this, there was this negative conception from people that, you know, when you do this with exotic cars, you're going to lose even more money. And I obviously proved it wasn't. I've done it a few times over and over again. And so I started putting together all my discoveries, case studies, and everything on this platform called Exotic Car Hacks, because I wanted my friends and people that knew about cars, that means that wanted cars, to stop losing money on this. And, you know, I consult a lot of people today and help them kind of select their cars, get their cars going and everything else. And I was running out of time doing it on a one-on-one basis. So I created and put all of my thoughts into this project called Exotic Car Hacks. And Exotic Car Hacks is really cool because I'm able to break down all the key fundamentals here in 4 hours of step-by-step video training, which I break down for you guys, including all the negotiations, how much to play, where the strategies work, all the myths you don't need to worry about, how to talk to dealers, and everything in between, even down to how to create selling ads and everything else. So it's really important because, you know, I've been able to narrow this down to as least amount of bullshit as I can, and as much focused emphasis on this idea that, you know, you can learn the core concept in 4 core hours. But then, you know, I've spent hours and hours coming up with some of these buyers, exact cars you guys are mentioning. Everything we talked about here on the R8, imagine 10 times more and more even extensive information on all of these models and much more. And I try to introduce 1 to 2 new buyers guides each month. Everything from the C63s up to the Gallardos, to the 458s, cars you guys are mentioning right now in this webinar that you want to own. And I break down all of these comprehensive car buyers guides, and I guarantee that there's not a single better car buyers guides on any car I cover, including in the GTR, that is better than the one I do. I mean, I cover every year, every model, everything you should be looking for. So that is the key thing here, and it's really important to have these buyers guides. And then one of the things I do is, obviously, I'm sure you guys know that all of the information we have in some of these teaching courses obviously changes from time to time. There's laws changing state by step, and there's also the whole idea that there's more stuff I discover, because like I told you before, I'm doing this too. And so you're going to be getting a lifetime updates of constant new information I'm putting out there. And the 4-hour course I told you also has an additional 6 hours on the side of the extra content that I've been kind of putting out over and over to kind of warn about specific issues or new things going on or new scams in the market or things to look out for, new strategies dealers are using, very current, etc., so that you understand the basics, but then you're constantly equipped with better and more up-to-date information. And of course, one of my all-time favorite cars, like all of my communities, regardless that it's my Secret Entourage one, my Watch Conspiracy one, or this Exotic Car Hacks one, I like to interact with people because I like to see what you guys are doing, and I like to help you make these deals. And so you can see here we have 753 members that are in this group. We now have about 900 since the screenshot was taken. The best part about this Facebook only group is that there's a lot of dealers in here that have committed. A lot of my friends have committed to helping you guys. Now, one of the reasons that people always one of the things they ask me to say, why would a dealer want to go in your group and help people save money on a car? Well, there's a few reasons. A lot of my dealer friends in this group are not necessarily exotic car dealers that are moving tons of exotic cars. So you're not really negotiating with them when you're buying a car. And then B, there's also the idea that most good dealers who don't rip off people love my system because they're saying, hey, listen, PJ is teaching people about how to get an exotic car. So he's creating a customer for me. He's creating a guy that's going to buy one of my cars. So they love it. And you know what? If they're fair dealers, they don't need to make millions and millions off of you. They just need to be making, their basic minimum so they can move a car. And in many cases, they'll lose money on a car because they don't want it on their lot. And that creates a good opportunity for you. But they're in this group talking, posting deals, talking about auction data, and helping you guys make educated decisions. And regardless that you're looking for a luxury car or an exotic, as long as it's one of these awesome cars I have on my list, it just works. So this is where I share my private case studies and my personal flips. I told you I keep doing this. And regardless that it's losing money, like on that Aston Martin DB9, like I told you, I'll make money on every deal, or that it's making a ton of money on that SL65 Black Series in just 2 months, it doesn't make a difference. Like my first Vanquish made me almost $18,000 after 5 months. The key here is to understand that, I post my deals so you guys can learn. And you can see a pattern in what does better and what doesn't do as well. You can follow my lead in which cars I pick, or you can go your own direction, make some difference. But at least you don't have to make the same mistakes I make. And you can see kind of like the way I structured my deals and how you can follow that. So that's really, really important, and it doesn't really matter that you're buying in cash or that you're putting a lot down or not. It's important to see how I've done it with each of these case studies so that it just starts making sense to you and you can start seeing these patterns. And of course, the final part that's important in my project is my personal network of private resources. Now, regardless that you need one-on-one help with me, or that your credit is not the best, meaning you don't understand how the credit and lending works, or that you need to have me help you specifically find a car, or even have access to that list of tuning shops we talked about earlier. Tuning, not to make your car faster, but for the maintenance and repairs. We talked about that. And so, I put all of my resources and I constantly update my personal network of private resources here on the project site as well, just to help you. So, what happens if you join Exotic Car Hacks? Well, you're going to get access to my 4-hour step-by-step video training, my comprehensive, some of the best in the industry car buyers guides, lifetime updates of constant bonus modules, access to member-only Facebook group, which we talked about, where you're going to have key networking with some incredible people in the industry, private case studies of my flips constantly updated, my network access to personal resources constantly updated, and that gives you roughly a $15,000 value. Now, before you kind of get on me and say, what the hell, why would that cost 15 grand? Well, let me tell you. The average person loses $15,000 on a bad deal buying a used exotic. And so I created Exotic Car Hacks because I want more people driving exotics, and I don't want to allow you to lose $15,000 on your next deal. So it doesn't really cost $15,000 for me to put this information together. It costs the average person $15,000 when they don't know this information and they walk in a dealership happy, they got a $5K off the car, and then walk out and talk to me like 3 months later thinking they got a good deal, and then I remind them they could have gotten $25K off the car and they just ate $20K off the top just for being not educated about the entire concept of how margins work, how financing works, and how everything in between works. These were just some of the guys on the site that we're proud to highlight here. Van picked up his 2002 911 Turbo. These are just first-time exotic owners, not necessarily the R8s. Here we have Hassam. I personally helped him with the car finder system to get into this 458 Italia. This is a guy that knew the market. This is a guy that had a GTR. He still came to me and he saved 20, I think it was 27 grand off of the asking price for this 458. Wade here went ahead and didn't even know he could have ever afforded a Gallardo, and it became, of course, his childhood dream, and it became true when he figured out the strategy I teach and how affordable it is. My very own Alan, a good friend of mine, has always wanted a Gallardo before he was 30. I helped him locate this very rare 6-speed first-gen Gallardo. He just put a new exhaust and bypass on it, shoots flames. He loves it. And, you know, here we have Jimmy, who again had nice cars his whole life. He has a Lexus and a CLS in the background. He wanted an exotic. He lost money on both of those cars in his garage. And of course, now he took home a very, very nice Ferrari California that he was able to use as well here. Steve here, again, this is funny because Steve didn't even think he could ever afford an exotic. Again, who would think you can buy a $140,000 Maserati Quattroporte? Look at this. 30,000 miles only, $36,000. Unbelievable. And I tell you, one of the best cars. I've done multiple case studies on the Quattroporte. I think it's a phenomenal car. So here's a free gift that I promised, of course. For those of you that stayed here, the R8 case study will be emailed to all of you. Again, you know, I want to thank you. So this is my particular car. You can see it's sitting here on modular wheels. I'm actually putting the same wheels on my McLaren shortly. Not these wheels, but I'm saying the same design wheels. Really loved it. And now comes a time where you have two choices. You can either join me, invest in your knowledge, and make sure you don't get ripped off 15, 20 grand on your next car. And actually, if you are looking for an R8, I know some of you were, you can go ahead and jump in and learn how to buy it and learn all the strategies to negotiate it down. Or you can end this training and, of course, go back to driving the same boring car. But remember, the key here is to understand that, you know, buying an R8 still comes with a great level of responsibility, both financially as well as your behavior in owning one. So if you're ready to step up to the plate, if you're ready to be in that position to not just buy a car, but really, you know, start learning the strategies so you can keep upgrading the cars over and over, and don't fall victim of being part of that, what society has taught us all these years, that things cost what they cost, and lease programs are the best way to own a car and you get the best write-off bullshit. Then this is the important thing. And my car was a V8 in exotic car hacks. Like, I've owned a V8. Other people have owned V8s, V10s. I personally graduated to the Lamborghini platform very quickly, so I never really went into the V10 R8s. But I am currently actually looking for the 2017 V10 for a whole different case study altogether. But you have the choice to also be an R8 right now. So we have this webinar special for you. If you guys want to join this project, I have the exoticcarhacks.com project specifically to you guys today to stay for this webinar. Using code Audi R8, you're going to be able to draw $200 off as you know, for your instant saving. And again, remember, everything I do, doesn't matter that it's on business, entrepreneurship, or anything else, you're going to be able to, of course, it is always backed by a 14 to 100% money back guarantee. Everything I do, guys, in the education space is there to teach. I only want people who are serious about getting into the car of their dreams, regardless that I'm teaching you business or not. I want you to learn how to actually do this, which is why I make the pricing reasonable, and I always back it by 100% money back. Because if you're not going to do this, you go through the course, you'll learn what I have to offer. You do it. Remember what I told you at the beginning. You have to keep an open mind. You have to be willing to learn. You learn the stuff, and you say, "Hey, you know what, BJ? I'm still scared. I don't want to take. You know, any type of. I don't want to take any type of chances. I've read through this. I understand it. I'm still scared. But why would you want to be in my program, right? So I want people who really want to know the information, which is why I put this out there, which is why I discount it from time to time, which is why I always back it by 100% money back guarantee. So one last time, 4-hour step-by-step training, lifetime updates. It's a one-time cost. Again, you're not going to have a monthly fee for this program. You can still sign up to my monthly newsletter, which is $15 a month. That covers specifically live cars that are going on and the pricing you should pay. But the course itself is a one-time fee and access to the Facebook group. All my updated information, all the updated flips, resources, everything has a one-time cost of $297, and I save the average person $15,000 on their car. So again, the coupon to use today is Audi R8 for $200 off. Again, backed by 100% money back. And take your questions and answer any questions you have regarding either this webinar or, of course, any questions you have about the automotive industry as a whole. And then, of course, if there's anything else I can do for you guys, feel free to go ahead and use your chat box right there. And therefore, we're going to be able to get most of you into an R8 or an exotic as fast as possible. Because like I always said, life is better in an exotic. So Tyler says, bought and drove my S5 for 3 months and listing for a profit. Love it, Tyler. This works on all luxury cars. The S5 works great. We have many members that have picked up an RS5, others R8s, S6s, RS7s. It works with all of them. So good luck, my friend. Omar says, you got to learn how to drive a manual. Yes, you should. Now, it doesn't mean every car's a manual. It just says the manuals on the R8s are just a better bet. Tyler says, I haven't been on the site in a while. Looks like I have a lot to catch up on. Yes, you do, my friend. We got a lot of new stuff all the time. Taylor asks, does this work in the luxury cars too? Yes, there's many cars I cover this for, including like cars like AMGs, M-Powers, Audi S-Lines. I also cover this in a lot of normal cars that are luxury settings, such as things like Maybachs, Bentleys. I mean, it doesn't really matter. If it's got an exotic badge, it works. If it's a specialty car, it works. So, you know, I think no matter what, it's just a great system to learn in general. Now, Jude asks, is it ever better to buy in cash or pay a substantial amount up front? Jude, it's not. Like, this is the idea of this program. You can leverage it and keep your cash flow and save yourself a ton of money. And that is the key here, is to save yourself the cash flow and to be able to have the cash, use it to make money. And then as a result, just use low interest rates today to buy your car. Now, depending on your credit and depending on, you know, your personal situation, you may or may not need to put cash, but I always say cash is king. Keep it in your pocket. Let's see. Carlos says, how do you sell without having the pink slip? That's easy, my friend. There's a lot of, I cater this 100% in the course, I promise you. But in short, it's really simple. Banks talk to banks all the time. Payoffs happen, and DMVs know how to do temporary temp tags to help people that are buying from you to make sure both buyer and seller are protected. So I covered this step by step for you in the course as well. What's the coupon code to sign up? Eric says right there, buddy, Audi R8 for $200 off immediately. And Adam says, was that a V8 or V10? My car was a V8. I personally think the V8 R8 is a better car, more balanced than the V10. The V10 is a lot more baller, so if you're looking for that kind of side, then, you know, I think the V10 is a cool car, but I think the V8 is still a better balanced car overall. Tyler, thank you. I'm glad this is a deal. I hope many people will take advantage of it. I don't usually discount it. John, it is a one-time cost. Like I said, the $297 is not recurring. It is a one-time cost and is lifetime access. I do not like recurring fees when it comes to platforms because I believe you're entitled to up-to-date information as much as I can. As much as effort I put into this, I don't think you should repay to learn a few new tricks. So hopefully you'll appreciate this as much as I can. My credit is 570. Damn, Drew, that sucks, man. I'm sorry to hear, buddy. But here's the good news for you. I don't know if you saw my previous screen there. I had mentioned that we have credit help. So we have an opportunity within the system. It does cost a little bit of money, but we do work with an agency that has helped many people go from 570 to 700 in 90 days. Many of our members have used them because they don't have perfect credit either. And you know what? Whatever mistake, they'll help you fix it and eventually get you into that car in 90, 120 days. So, you know, they work exclusively with our members. They have a few tricks they've used and it works well for them. And, you know, I think it's a big win. Even if you got to start somewhere, so you're going to have to fix that credit at some point. And guys, before I keep going with these questions, I want to thank you guys a lot for the support here. I see many of you are picking up the course. I see many of you are joining this community, and I appreciate you guys very much for that. Very, very much for, you know, supporting some of these projects I have. I try to teach as many hacks as I can to all industries. You know, Exotic Car Hacks, WatchConspiracy.com, Seacrowns Rush, all great platforms. And, you know, through the years, I've had tremendous respect from people who have, you know, learned to use these strategies. Nothing is done overnight. A lot of work goes into this. And I'm thankful for all of you that are taking advantage of this. Regardless that you're taking advantage of this offer, full price or anything else, I thank you for your support. So let's see, Byron says, what are your thoughts on having a cheap POS, meaning piece of shit, to daily? as to not rack up miles on your exotic, wise or foolish. My friend, I tell you, I've always had a sidecar, man. Like I always had a sidecar. I will tell you, Byron, that I think if you're going to rack up more than 5,000-6,000 miles a year, just the type of use that, especially if you live in cities, I highly recommend having a sidecar. Like, doesn't matter if you buy a cheap $5,000, $10,000 car for those times you don't care, or that you buy another. You can do this with a more luxury-driven car like an S4 or S5, and then use that as more of a daily, so you can put more miles than you would in an R8. I really would, focus on that, buddy. John says, I bought an AP, but I feel I could have paid less. Would you consider helping in watch purchases as well? I'd love to get a Panda. Bro, I love you. I love watches. I wish you could see my camera right now. I'm wearing a Panerai 233 I just got today. I have a lot of Hublots and APs myself. I will tell you, brother, this is not the webinar for this. You're on the wrong page, man. You need to go to watchconspiracy.com and learn about watches. That is going to be more specific to that. And yes, I have the same platform for watches, so check it out there. I think you'll find a lot of value if you're looking for watch help more than anything else. Next year, I got Mauricio saying, PJ, I bought an E92 M3 6-speed manual. Good for you, man. That's the way to buy those cars. 2 weeks ago, using your strategies for first luxury car. Thank you for helping me save thousands. I love it, bro. I hope, I don't know the year or the mileage, but I would say hopefully you paid around 30K for that car. That's a lot of car for the money, man. That's a beautiful car, Mauricio, so congrats. Ferry, I think you're doing the math wrong, man. It's $497 usually. We're dropping $200, so it brings the price down to $297 using coupon code Audi R8. Adam, it works on the S4. I've actually helped 2 members source a 2010 and a 2014 S4, so I know it works on the S4. Let's see. Kurt says, is it tougher to sell an exotic in a market like Cleveland? It isn't tougher to sell an exotic anywhere you want, brother. It is a national market, meaning it does not matter where you live in the US, Canada. It does not matter. You can sell the car. There's people shipping cars from Canada to here and vice versa. There's different implications that go there, but for the most part, keep in mind that it works anywhere in the United States, meaning most people are buying exotics cross country. I don't think I've bought an exotic locally in quite a while. I've always shipped the car or shipped it from somewhere else. So definitely consider that your market is not a restriction on playing this game, my friend. Again, guys, if you want this deal, go to exoticcarhacks.com/R8 sale. I thank all of you for your support. So far, I've seen a few of you join just in the last few seconds. Thank you for that. Again, the Audi R8 code will give you $200 off instantly. Is it bad to work on the car yourself, says Ethan? Okay, the only downfall to working on a car yourself is you don't get records. Now, that may or may not be okay, depending on how long you keep the car. That's not bad. Repairs, doesn't matter who works on it, because nobody even needs to know it was repaired, right? But the thing that's important is your oil changes. It does help to have documentation. Many people, do work on them themselves. People usually PPI cars, even if they haven't gone for my course. And so a car that's well maintained with good oil is a car that's still well maintained with good oil. Tyler says, PJ, what would you recommend annual gross be before attempting for an R8? I think your annual gross, brother, if you're trying to get a loan on an R8, I think I would say try to make, I teach a strategy in my course that I don't want to really break down here, because I don't think it's necessarily it's not that it's illegal, it's just a loophole to the financing that I don't want to share here I don't want to share it here publicly, but the important thing is to know that there's a way around this, but typically banks want to know that you make at least the gross value of the car per year. So if you say you're buying a 70K car, they want to know you make 70K. There's huge ways around that, so you don't have to make that, but I'm telling you that's what banks want to see. Michael, is it better to buy from a dealer or private owner for R8? I think both are okay, brother. It doesn't matter that you buy from a private owner or a dealer. I think what's important is that you buy the right deal, regardless of where it comes from. I think some dealers have the right deal, some private owners have the right deal. Gio says, damn, where would I park the beast? I don't know, brother. You don't have to have a garage, but in most cases I recommend it depending on where you live. Depending on if you live in a hot neighborhood or kind of a wax zone, I'd be careful not to park an R8 outside. It may not make sense, right? So I want you to be as safe as possible. Ryan, is the information in your Car Hacks Udemy course on par with ACH? Absolutely not, Ryan. The Udemy course, my friend, is very old. It's voiceover shit that I did like probably like 7 years ago to teach people the basic concept. There was so much interest in that course. There were so many people that loved that course that they said, hey, look, the course is kind of outdated. It's old. Some of this stuff doesn't make sense. And I said, you know what? Fuck Udemy. I don't like Udemy. I don't want to do shit on Udemy. So what I did is I created this whole website, platform, course learning, all of this, which is on Exotic Car Hacks. This does not redirect you to Udemy. This does not use the old version of Udemy. There's only one slide in there that I stole from Udemy because it was still relevant. Everything else is live HD with me talking in front of the camera or me walking you through stuff that is new and relevant and a lot of updated videos. So Ryan, definitely check out this platform and not the Udemy thing because you're not going to get the information you want. And Gio says, I just checked my credit. Okay, I love it, brother. It's like 680. So there you go. So you're there. You can play with this, or you can use our service and get yourself over 700 and get the best rate. Samuel says, I'm a student and I do not have such a high credit score. Well, time to build it up, brother. Regardless that you use our system in there to help you build it or that you build it yourself, it makes no difference. You definitely have an opportunity there. Definitely have an opportunity to play with this, and at least you're gonna have to start somewhere. So I started a lot of guys young, 18, get them into like some cars, get them started, and eventually graduate to the R8, the Lambos, and everything in between. R says, what do we do to make sure we are keeping mileage low? Do you suggest purchasing a daily driver? Yeah, we talked about that, bro. Like, it's okay. It's really okay to purchase a daily driver. It depends on you and where you're going to be driving. I look at the cool thing I do. Like, this might like blow your mind, bro. I get 4-5 exotics at a time, right? And then I'm only, even though I drive the shit out of them, I'm only putting like 2,000-3,000 miles on each. So at the end, I'm still putting like 15,000-20,000 miles a year, but I'm spreading it between like 4 or 5 cars. And then it doesn't matter. So that's the key part, So I like to do this. You can do whatever, you can do, but this is just an idea. Jeff says, are the savings you mentioned only realized after the resale, or can the reduced payments be realized during ownership? I don't necessarily understand what you're asking, Jeff. So the savings you mentioned, like in terms of like the savings in buying the car are obviously prior to purchasing it because you're paying less for it. The payments can be reduced based on how low you can buy the car. And then after, when you actually sell the car, you get your money back. That's the key part. So in some cases, you're going to pay for the car, right? You're going to make a payment. Let's say you pay $700 a month for your car. And so, let's say you're on the fence about, let's say you are very close to like $700 a month on your car and you're paying this every month. But when you sell your car, you get that money back and some more. So even if your payoff is going to be lower, you're still selling the car for the same dollar. Whatever you paid into it is going to go back into your actual pocket. So that's what matters, Let's see, who else asked? Let me just make sure I'm reading this. So many questions, guys. I'm trying to get all of you. Now, I see more of you are signing up. I know there's so many of you in this webinar. I still have a ton of questions to get to. Keep putting your questions in there. But guys, I'm going to get to every question here. I want to stay with you guys. I want to answer your questions. I want to make sure you are 100% ready to get on this. Now, what I want to know, though, is who is on the fence. I want to talk to you specifically. If you're unsure about it, if Exotic Car Hacks is for you, put your question. I want to answer that question one-on-one. So go ahead and put that in. I'm going to keep going through these questions, though, so make sure that all of you get the same fair responses you all deserve for staying with me until this webinar. And I thank you guys for doing that. That was cool of you guys to stay till the end. And I saw a lot of respectful people on the webinar, so I love that. So I'm going to stay as long as it takes to answer all your questions. R says, I normally put about 1,000 miles on every month just driving from work and gym. Yeah, well, so like I said, try to buy either 2 exotics or do, the cheaper car, etc., and then it shouldn't really bother you. Jude says, how much of a role does tax play in all of this? Well, Jude, that's a wonderful question because, you see, in the course, I teach people how to avoid the sales tax based on which states you live in. But in some cases, you still have to pay. So there are strategies that I teach on how to recycle the sales tax. So you paid one time on one car and then recycle it over and over and over on every other car. Now, outside of that, though, just so we're clear, there is the idea that in some cases, you are going to have to pay sales tax. I don't want to lie to you. And in some cases, like in California, it's very difficult if you live in California to buy a car legit off of a dealer in California and not lose some money paying a 10% sales tax. In some cars, it can work still. Like I've done it for that guy I showed you, the Ferrari 458. He's doing it in California. He's not going to lose $1. But the 458 is a $250K car. It has a much bigger margin. And so it's very important to understand that this margin is what you're playing here. And for the 458, it's bigger than the R8. So if you're buying an R8, the sales tax is not that much. But if it is, then, in some cases, it may or may not hurt you. I don't want you to think otherwise. But I do teach you tricks, even if you live in Cali, to kind of register your car outside of Cali. Brian asks a great question. Are there any upsales on your site? I'm going to be honest with you, my friend. There's the $297 you pay to gain access here, right, to everything we just talked about. There's no time where I'm going to charge you more money to get access to the same information because I changed my mind. It doesn't work that way. If you want one-on-one time with me outside of the Facebook group, I interact in the Facebook group every single day with every member. Now, that said, it's not just like you're on and then I'm off and I come back in a week. I am there every single day answering people's questions. Every member in the group will tell you. You post something, you tag me, I'll get an answer by the end of the day. Now, if you want one-on-one with me, meaning you want to sit down one-on-one and go on Skype and talk just to me, yes, that you can pay for. If you want me to help you buy a car, meaning you want me to sit, negotiate it for you, a broker charges 4 to 5% and makes money on the back end. We have a free service that charges you only a $1,000 fee once we find you the car, meaning $1,000, and we will do all the negotiating to that bottom dollar. And we will teach you how to do it. So it's like hands-on, one-on-one while doing the process. These are the only things you can pay for in addition to the $297 if you need that one-on-one with me where it takes a couple hours of us spending together. Otherwise, $297 is all you're paying. If you would like to join the monthly membership, that is $15 a month. That gives you access to our newsletter. That means that every week I'm going to send you 10 links to 10 cars that are live on sale in the country and what you should pay for them and why I would buy those cars myself. So meaning an opportunity for you to actually buy the same type of cars I would be buying, 10 exotics, 10 luxury cars, as well as 10 bargain cars under 30 grand, and then 10 SUVs. Regardless of what you're looking for, I try to cover it for all of you. Hasib says, are concerns involving warranty covered in this program? There is no concerns involving warranty, my friend. You either pay more because the car's under warranty or you don't. We teach you how to bypass the warranty because I'm not a fan of it. You're still paying premium when a car has a warranty. There are ways to protect yourself against the car without a warranty. Gio, that's a big win. You're welcome, brother. Make it. We want people to win. We want people in exotic cars, my friend. Daniel, what is the best way to start building credit? I'm 19 years old and have zero credit history. Get a credit card, brother. You got to start somewhere. Get a credit card. Get some kind of like store card. I have a lot of articles out there on secretentourage.com. Just search credit. You'll see a ton of cool stuff on credit. And of course, if you're already in the program, you want help on your credit, that special group I told you guys about, yes, it does cost money. It's very easy in 90 days they can help you build credit. Hasib, let's see. Oh no, I've already answered your question, Hasib. So I'm gonna go to Marty. I want a low payment on a used R8. How does that work? My friend, where have you been this whole webinar? I've been breaking down the R8, like every aspect of it. So you're gonna have to watch the replay. I can't just break down the whole webinar if you showed up late. Now, real important though, bro, you can get R8s as low as 60 grand. I was showing you the best R8s to buy around the 70 mark, but I've seen R8s in the 55K mark that are clean, just a little bit higher mileage. And again, guys, if you're on the fence, I wanna get you guys to talk to me about why you're afraid of joining this community and the special project I created called the Exotic Car Hacks Project. So I wanna know, I wanna talk to you. So, go ahead and just make sure that, guys, if you have a question, put it in there. I'm here answering your questions right now. Christian says, what is the name of the company? I don't know what company you're talking about, brother. So just go ahead and send that question again with what specifically you're saying. If you guys are asking multiple questions, I'm not always able to go back in the questions to answer future questions. So write out the full questions for me so I can make sure you get the attention you deserve. And again, thanks, guys, for the support. I see many of you are still joining me on this Exotic Car Hacks project. I want you guys in exotic cars, so I want you guys to learn. So again, 100% money back guaranteed in 14 days. If you don't like it, or if you don't know how to leverage it and you can't leverage it, then, you know, time to get your money back. But if not, I want you in this community. I want you to learn so you can eventually leverage it. Tomek says, can you show the slide again with those websites like eBay, etc.? Sorry, bro, I cannot go back once it is on this slide. However, I will have a replay you can watch, my friend, and in the course you will find a lot more than those 6 listings on there. Brian, I've answered that question already. There are no upsells on the sites that are for this content. It's $297 a one-time fee. I broke it down on how it's structured for you. Jude, any thoughts on reselling the car in a more expensive country? My friend, I don't teach that specifically. Is it possible? I've sold cars in China, Brazil, and other places. That is a very specific thing to do. I don't recommend you do it unless you have experience with it. It can get real ugly real fast. So I do recommend that you focus primarily on the strategy the way I teach it. PJ, another PJ. I love you, bro. I love people named PJ. I knew another PJ. It was 5 times bigger than me, like size-wise. So every time I talked to him, I felt really small. But I don't know how I told you, bro. But anyways, what year Quattroporte would you suggest? And for you, PJ, I would recommend the 2011 to 2013. That is the last year Ferrari, the last generation Ferrari was really involved in the design of the Quattroporte. It is a better car. It is a phenomenal car with very little issues. That's why there's so few of them on the market. Look for a 2011 to 2013 S. You can pay under 40K, and that is a tremendous car for the money. Adam says, my S4 is a 2014 with 55K now on lease. Sport 6-speed manual payoff is good because I worked there when I got it new, ready to dump and get in the R8. That's what's up, bro. Let's get that R8, man. I showed you everything you need to do. If you want me to help you do it further, exoticcarhacks.com/R8 sale. Let's get you in that car, bro. Drew, I want to sign up, but I'm getting paid next week. Bro, it's called a credit card. Pay yourself back, but go ahead and take advantage of this offer while you can. John, we're back on the watch conversation. All right, bro. You know, I love watches, so I'm going to entertain this for a second. Panerai is amazing. I'm wearing my AP Diver as my daily driver. We'll check out the site. Does ECH cover best companies to use for transport if you're buying a car out of state? Also, will the RA case study be automatically emailed to the email I used for the webinar? Yes, my friend. The email will be sent to the email you used to sign up for the webinar. And then we do cover the best companies to use for transport. That's what the Facebook group is, because that's always changing. People have different experiences. So I highly recommend that you are part of the Facebook group and the project, so that way you can discuss at the time you're ready to transport a car from where to where and who's the better carriers. And I have my own brokerage for transport that I can put you in touch with, so they can give you like dealer rates, you know, the rates that dealers pay to move cars with reputable transport companies. So hopefully that helped. Jude, how might the exotic car market change in 10 years? Well, you got to ask yourself, how much has it changed in the past 10 years? That's a good indicator of everything that's going on in the next 10 years. Brad, fuck it. I'm signing up, bro. I love you. Thank you very much for your support. I love it. You know, I think that's, I appreciate your support there in bringing this platform to life. Without you guys, it wouldn't be possible. Again, if you guys on the fence, I want to talk to you. So go ahead and put in your questions so I can answer them. Christian says, what percentage of your income should you spend on an exotic? It's not like that, man. That's the old conventional way to think about it. The point becomes, if you can afford the monthly payment, and then you're going to get your money back, so you're not really losing money. So it's whatever you're comfortable without financially hurting yourself. You are going to get the money back, but still, you want to be able to be comfortable so you don't have to be in a fuck it, I need to sell my car overnight situation. No luxury goods sold overnight ever ends up good for anybody selling it. So I don't recommend doing that. I do recommend that you spend a little bit of time making sure you're comfortable with the payment you're going to undertake, and use the strategies we teach, man. I mean, 84 months on some of these cars ends up really cheap on these payments. I mean, most people can afford $600-700 a month. It becomes harder to pay 80,000 cash or whatever for a car, but $700 a month with no down is not that big of a deal. Let's see. Gio, thank you, brother. I appreciate your support too. I appreciate you signing up. I love it when people kind of support the projects I have. I appreciate you guys. Again, I'm in the Facebook group every day. If you guys have questions on how to flip exotics, which exotics you should be buying, what to look for, if you have a link to a car you want me to review, that's what's happening in the Facebook group every day. Amir, I don't know if you're the same Amir I used to know back in the day. I would assume there's more than one Amir in the world, but is having multiple previous owners of a used car considered a red flag with the way your system works? Not at all, Amir. There's cars that have 15 owners. There's cars that have 5 owners and 10 miles on them, and it doesn't make a difference. So there is going to be different ways that you manage that process, right? Like meaning that you're going to pay less money or more money based on what that history is, but it does not change the concept as a whole. Or it is not a red flag just because it has multiple owners. Josh, Bud, you're awesome. Thanks for your work. How do you recoup the taxes and interest of a car from a dealership when it comes time to resell? Well, so you're not going to recoup the taxes and interest of a car from the dealership. The way it works is you sell the car for more than you paid for it or at what you paid for it, and you recoup your taxes in most cases if you're using the strategies that I teach. But your interest you never recoup. But who gives a shit? Because like it's like saying I want to recoup my insurance. Well, who gives a? You're going to pay insurance on any car anyways. And if you're not paying that much insurance, then who gives a shit? There's some type of cost to play, right? You can't say I want to recoup my gas too. And I mean, if you're making a profit from a car, like if you look at some of these case studies I showed earlier, and you're looking at 200K cars and you're making 15, 18K on a car, yes, you're going to recoup your cost of ownership in full. But this does not mean that you can buy like a cheaper car that has a 5K margin and expect to recoup every single penny you've ever put into the car. There's going to be some cost to some point to driving a car in the world. And hopefully you're using the right strategy, to ultimately not have a big cost of doing that. And if you are using it properly, then you're making some money, so you're recouping some of that money, including your taxes and in some cases your interest. Gio, I started a clothing line, and as you say, life is better on an exotic and it will help promote my brand. Absolutely, brother. Look at the guys from Entrepreneur that started their business from my other company, Secret Entourage, that thought of how to do that. And then as a result of it, they're using a lot of exotics to promote their brand, and they grew to like 300 or 400K or something in 2 years, which is crazy. Let's go next. Michael says, I have seen a few 2009 R8s that have minor rear end damage that was repaired and re-inspected by Carfax and are for sales in the mid-60s. Yeah, those are options, my friend. That's not usually what I teach, but those are options too. I typically stay away from crash cars, but it doesn't mean there isn't an opportunity. There isn't an opportunity to be able to still make money off of cars that have had some kind of damage. I just don't go there. It doesn't mean there isn't out there. So I would say if you're doing it the right way, I do cover some of that in the course, but I would in most cases, there is better deals to be had on clean cars, even if you save a few grand on a damaged car. Dimitri, I consider this a business expense. Bro, this is education, man. Thanks to the fucked up tax system in the United States, anything that is education can be written off on your taxes as learning. So that's like fully tax deductible. Like imagine that shit, right? Only in America. I love it. Brian, what about sales tax? We extensively cover it in the course based on your state. Some states is easier than others, but all of them, it's a possibility. So, can you use sales tax? Meaning, can you leverage the sales tax so you don't have to pay? Yes, there's strategies that teach you this. Ian says, doesn't selling the car with outstanding finance against it cause a problem? Never, brother. I've sold probably 50 of the 70 cars that had a lien on them. It didn't change a single thing. It didn't back out a deal for a buyer. It didn't make it more difficult. It was equally easy. It was equally successful. And I highly recommend that you watch the course because I talk and break all of that down. It is not difficult. It is very easy to do so. There's strategies that the DMV implies and uses. I send you links to those. There's also places in terms of how the deals are done, and I cover this in the course as well. These are the extra modules that I covered there that are available that I've updated over time because these laws change. Brian says, will sales tax affect the profit margin? Well, obviously it might, because if you're paying sales tax and recouping that, you're trying to break even, right, and not make a profit. It depends on the car, man. The more expensive the car, the bigger the profit margin, the more the leverage. Greggy, I have a 620 credit score. How can I buy it? Brother, you need to fix that credit score. No matter what, with me or not, with this program or not, you're going to need a better credit score. It's 2017, man. There's 500 different ways to fix your credit, one of which is available in this program. Under the resources, you're going to be able to go credit help. There's an agency we work with, fixes credit in 90 days, even bankruptcies. So there's a cost for that. It's not free. But again, You're going to have to fix that credit at some point. Might as well start here. Samuel, can I afford a car with about can I afford a deck? I think you're trying to say a decent car with about 300 to 500 a month. Yes, there's plenty of cars for 300 to 500 a month. There's Mercedes, there's BMW M5s, M3s, CLS 55s, E63s. All of those cars can be had in that range. Aaron says, I'm 19 and want to get into an R8, but need to build my credit. Would it be smart for me to purchase a 2013 A7 first? No, do not buy an A7, brother. No A7s. Like, I don't care what they are. They're pieces of shit and they're going to go down to zero. Buy a better car. Like, buy some of the specialty cars I cover that are cheaper. You don't have to start with an R8. You can start with an M3. You can start with an S4, S6. You can start with one of those, but do not buy an A7 whatsoever. V, how about insurance? My friend, where have you been? We covered this in this webinar. We showed you exactly what we pay for the R8. It was $700 for 6 months. That's less than 1 cup of latte at Starbucks per day. It's very affordable. It's very easy. If you have a terrible driving record, then I can't help you, but I don't think anybody can help you. So at some point, you need to be able to fix that driving record. And you guys need to understand this. You guys keep asking about credit and about insurance. Listen, guys, there's a level of responsibility that goes with being a good human being, right? And it's the fact that there's laws to be followed. And I understand we all play around with stuff, but you are personally accountable for your own well-being, meaning you have to make sure you have a good driving record. And obviously, you don't have to have a perfect driving record. We don't have to be perfect to enjoy life's best things. We just have to make sure we're reasonable. And we have to make sure that we understand that credit matters. If you have bad credit, your first concern should be to fix your credit, no matter what, regardless if you want an R8 or not. Fix your credit. This is key. And make sure that you have a good driving record so you can keep enjoying these cars, and without the premium costs. Daniel says, awesome. Thank you, PJ. I'm already a member of the SC Academy, so I'll be checking out the credit section. Oh, glad to hear, brother. Definitely, you can do it. You can do it on your own. You can do it with us, whatever makes you happy, whatever works, but fix that credit, bro. Marty, I showed up late. Sorry to hear, bro. There's a lot we covered here. But again, you can ask questions if you have them. I can't recover everything. Dimitri, who's the dumbnuts who asked the R8 question, laugh out loud, bought the course? I appreciate you, Dimitri. Again, guys, if you have not bought the course, join Exotic Car Hacks. I want to know why. So please, 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 in the chat box, go ahead and write for me specifically, why are you on the fence? I want to know. I want to know why people are still not getting the car of their dreams, or what or why are you on the fence? It's as cheap as it gets. It's $200 off. It's backed by 100% money back guarantee. This isn't my first rodeo teaching online. I have a bunch of platforms that have been around for years. This isn't going anywhere. It's going to keep growing. So I want to know why. I want questions. Let's see. Taylor, oh wait, PJ asked what year quadruporte. I already answered that, brother. So hopefully you got it. And then Taylor, I would love to join this so I can learn how to get into a luxury car. Although $297 is a good price. It's a little too high for me. Love everything you do, PJ. Come on, Taylor. Come on, man. Don't be afraid. This is the best part. Just take a chance. Learn. Jamie, what Aston Martin specific I should get for a great deal? I love the Vantage, Jamie. I do really well with a 2010 to 09 Vantage V8. You can buy a cheaper Vantage for less than $500 a month, which is a 07 6-speed. That's a lot of car for the money. Lots of car for the money. And a phenomenal buy in general if you like cheaper Aston Martins. My personal all-time favorite, Jamie, if you have more money and are going for something more baller, the DBS 6-speed hasn't dropped $1 in the past 4 years. I still regret selling mine. I've had 2 of them. I love them to death, but I tell you, the 6-speed DBS is the car to own if you want an Aston. David, do you recommend an extended third-party dealer warranty? No, I do not. Nothing, brother. Never buy an extended third-party warranty, no matter who it's from. PJ, do you explain on the site how to sign up for the Facebook group, where I just request and you will accept me? I just signed up as a member. Brother, thank you for signing up. I appreciate you. I appreciate the support. Super, super appreciated. The Facebook group, when you sign up, you can find the Facebook group. It's under the same name, Exotic Car Hacks. You request access, and within 24 hours, someone from my team will approve you when they match your membership to your name. So no worries, bro. We got you. If for any reason anything comes up, email me at info@exoticcarhacks.com. I'll personally add you to the group. So Rod, can you join right now? can't, I think you're meant to say can't join, but will next month. Come on, man. Next month, you don't have a $297 offer. You have a $497 offer. Save $200. Join us now. Ryan, I would make enough not to be fucked if you damage the vehicle and hurt your resellability. I would make enough dollar. I'm not sure what that means. I think what you're trying to say is that you're afraid of crashing the car. Look, I've had my exotics throughout the past probably now 14 years that I've played with exotics. I've been hit once, and because I bought right, I broke even. I didn't lose money. But yes, you can lose money if you don't buy right, and it can hurt. But it goes down to how you drive and where you live and how comfortable you're driving. So again, that's a personal decision, but I understand what you're saying. You just have to make sure you're not hurting yourself. Let's see. Ryan, so V says, 3 years into a bankruptcy, does this work for someone like me? Yes, like I was saying earlier, V, we have a way to help you with credit. Under the resources, we have this concept that allows our members to get credit repair at a very cheap cost. It's available, and they can usually help you within 90 days. So hopefully that can get you on track. Jonathan, I'm 18 years old and I want to purchase your program, but do not have the funding to purchase it. Well, my friend borrowed from a credit card, paid back in 2 payments. Sometimes we have deals, sometimes we do not. I don't do live webinars often, so we don't offer these deals often. But again, I cannot speak to what may or may not happen down the road. This is your opportunity to get it now for $200 off. Hopefully you will join us as I answer some of these last questions. Shidrup says, would the already be free after paying sales tax? I have covered this several times today. Yes, there's ways to do that so you don't have to lose on the sales tax. And then Brian says, I may be upside down in my current car, 650 convertible. Can you help with strategy? Now, that's a great question, Brian. So let me kind of cover the way upside down deals work. Many of you may be in a car or may be in something that is upside down, meaning where you are actually in a position where you're going to lose money if you get out of your car. Many people who have not used a strategy are in this position. The way I look at that is really simple. The value of a car is the value of a car. If you made a bad decision before, then I'm sorry for you. I really am. Like, it sucks. I've been there. I've done it. It's terrible. But at some point or another, you're going to have to cut your losses. The earlier you cut your losses, the better off you are. It's like a bad stock. If it keeps going down, you're not going to win, right? So what I recommend is really, really simple. Take the loss, but buy a next car that you have good margin on, meaning don't buy the next car you could want, buy the car that you can afford to flip and make up your loss on the previous car. And then the following car, get into the car you actually want using my strategies so you leave that mistake behind and never use it again. Dimitri, Gran Turismo, my wife wants that and I'm getting it already. Well, glad to hear, buddy. I did the Gran Turismo. You know, there's actually right now, like literally live as you're hearing this, there's I think it's Naples, somewhere in Naples, Florida. You can look this up. It's probably on eBay still. There's a 2013 Maserati MC Gran Turismo convertible at one of the lowest prices in the country. It's midnight blue on black interior with blue stitching. It's absolutely gorgeous, bro. That car is priced so low right now. Like, I can't even believe that shit is still there. You should check that out and see if that fits your need. Because someone needs to buy that car. That's like a perfect flip opportunity. V, how about a Porsche Panamera? Piece of shit. No, the Panamera is a great car, the turbo especially. The problem with the Panamera right now, bro, is that you're going to find yourself a little bit fucked with that car because the Panamera is depreciating still with the new Panamera around the corner. I would wait a little bit. I would wait a little bit for that car, maybe another year, and then get into that car. Jamie, is a 09 911 Corvette S a good starter exotic? I actually put a member in one. That was a fantastic car, very reliable. I like the 911 4S, but again, that's up to you. I think that's a lot of car for the money. Marty, I sold the cars for 33 years, and I signed up today just from hearing you. I have a lot of knowledge, but I still feel you can teach me something new. So you guys on the fence should sign up. Bro, thank you, brother. Like, I appreciate that. Reality is that, I actually coach a lot of dealers too that are trying to get in the exotic car game. I think the more awesome dealers like we have, Marty, that join the Facebook group, interact with members, you can teach us something as much as we can teach you new stuff. And so the community is the key part. People that are playing this game who are and want to keep learning and educating themselves on the constantly changing market and the cars coming into it. So I appreciate you, Marty, and I thank you for signing up. Chidwell, which exotic SUV do you recommend under 100K? Listen, one of my favorite cars, 2012 Range Rover HSE supercharged autobiography. If you can find an Ultimate, that's the car to own. If you can't, then just the autobiography. It's like about like 40, 50K, but the G-Wagon is really probably the best bet from a resale standpoint, especially because you can get a newer 2013, 2014. I just don't like driving a G-Wagon, but it looks great. I just don't like driving them. They drive like a Jeep, so it's kind of shit. Hasib says, does the Exotic Car Hacks program go over third-party warranties for exotics? Bro, we're done with third-party warranties. That's the scam of like 2012. Like nobody's buying third-party warranties for exotics. It's shit. Jude, I don't even make enough to afford a regular car, but I use my dad's car, so I don't need to buy one. I'm still in college, but I'm planning for the future. Wonderful. I don't really understand the question, but yes, if you are trying to get into your own car, I would definitely try to understand these strategies, because even if you're buying a car, even if it's not an exotic, you are still going to struggle by the way dealers do business if you don't know how they do business. So I highly recommend you do that and at least learn the strategies we teach in general. Let's see. Devin says, I'm in Naples. Yeah, so you're going to go check out that Maserati, bro. Like, that's super important. And Casey says, PJ, what's your website for the watches? I'm purchasing the program immediately. I appreciate you, Casey. It is watchconspiracy.com. If you guys want to learn about luxury watches, there's a lot of money to be made in luxury watches, a lot more than there's into cars, because you can flip them faster and quicker. We have a lot of members making $3,000 to $4,000 a month just wearing some sick watches. It's really simple. It's cheap to get into, and it's a good strategy if you like wearing watches while you drive exotic cars. I've loved it. I've done it for quite some time. I always have 5 to 6 watches. So hope you guys enjoy or take advantage of that as well. But again, this is Exotic Car Hacks. Guys, I'm about to wrap it up. So if you guys are on the fence, have not joined us, I know many of you have joined us tonight. I want to appreciate you guys for investing in yourselves and Exotic Car Hacks. I put a lot of thought into this platform to help you guys with your car buying needs. I am hoping that you guys are going to be supporting this, supporting myself so that I can support you and making sure you save money. And Joshua, exactly, it's 100% money back guarantee. So what do you have to lose? If you don't love the information, you can't use it. And guys, just don't worry about it. If you can't use it, 100% money back guarantee. If you want to learn now and you're like, I'm going to use it later, then fine. Same thing. It doesn't matter. Like, just take the chance on education. So that's the key. Brian, thank you for just joining. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate your support right there. Let me know what you think. I'll see you in the Facebook group. We can interact and talk cars in there. Peach says, what luxury cars would you suggest if you're not ready for an exotic yet? Bro, I love the 2012 S65 AMG. I love the CL65s. I love the SL65s. I love the M5s, M6 Grand Sports. I love all of those cars. So there's an opportunity, regardless of which car you're getting into, regardless if it's luxury or exotic, as long as you're buying the premium versions like the M-Power or the S-Line, the AMGs, you should be fine. Even cheaper cars like the C63 is still a lot of car for like 20 grand. It's like less than 300 a month for a car like that, One of the best cars, guys, like one of the best cars out there right now is the new Viper. Like everybody loves the new Viper. It's like 2015, beautiful car. It can be had for the same price in R8. It's like fully under warranty. I love that car. It's a lot of car if you don't know how to drive cars, but still a lot of car for the money. So I like that car a lot. There's a fewer and fewer out there, but they're holding hard, and a great car to hold for like 1 year or two and then sell for exactly what you paid. Hey, Joshua, thank you for joining, brother. I appreciate you. I saw that, you just joined, and again, like you said, 100% money back guarantee, so who cares? And I'm good at that stuff, guys. This isn't an online program and shit where you're going to email someone and wait 10 days and get a response back, right? Like, I have a full team working on all my platforms all the time. We have great people. We're not going anywhere. Like, this program is not disappearing next year. So, we're out here to kind of educate people, and regardless of which one of my platforms you interact with, that we give a shit, and that's the difference between us and just an online program. So we're a community of people, and we help each other. So let's see. Ian asks, doesn't selling the car with outstanding finance against it cause a problem? No, we talked about this, brother. Like, you can sell the car even if it has a lien on it, even if you owe exactly the same amount that the guy's going to buy it for, more or less, it changes nothing. You can still sell the car. I break all of that down in the course. Brad, I'm glad you got it, bro. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate the kind words. I'm glad you're going to get into the content. I expect some questions in the Facebook group. Haseeb, thoughts on the BMW M5 E60? Do you have any clients come across with issues involving the car? It depends on the year, brother. It depends on the year. The 06 is a problematic car, but 07 and 08s are better. But again, it depends on the car itself. So you're going to have to look at each car specifically. That's what the Facebook group is for. It's a really good opportunity to ask questions about a specific car, so I can look at the Carfax and the service record and give you some really, really good, some really, really good advice on which car to buy, etc. Let's see. Brian says, hey, how do I get on your preferred tuning shop list? All right, Brian, if you have a shop yourself and you're fixing cars, it's easy, brother. All you have to do is shoot us an email at info@exoticcarhacks.com. Let us see what your shop is. We'll go ahead and take a look at it. We'll understand what you're doing out there. And then from there, we can see if it's a fit for the list and add you on there, bro. Especially if you're willing to offer discounts to members. We love members helping members. So if we can help you in return, we're glad to do that, Let's see. And do we have any other questions, guys? I think that's it. I think many of you have asked a lot of questions. I try to answer as many as I can. I appreciate all of you for staying on tonight with me. I know it's been a long night. I know we've covered a lot, and I thank you guys again for being on with me and for so many of you supporting all of the Exotic Car Hacks platform and all the incredible people helping you get into your exotic car. So thank you guys again. I hope you all have a wonderful night. Remember, this offer will only be up for a few more minutes at exoticcarhacks.com/R8 sale. $297 is $200 off of our regular price with coupon code Audi R8. And again, remember, as I always say, it is 100% covered with a 14-day money-back guarantee. All you have to do is, if you don't think I can save you money, or if you don't think the information is worth it, just shoot me an email and get your money back. It's that simple. I want people who want to get in exotic cars, and I want to back all of my programs with making sure that they work and get people in exotic cars. I know we've got a ton of people that have already gotten them, so I know it works. I've done it, and I keep doing it. So there's no reason why you can't do it too, especially if you're ready to get into a car. Then you should learn some of the strategies we teach you. So I hope you all have a wonderful night, guys. I hope you've enjoyed yourselves during this webinar, and I'll catch you guys next time. And again, I really, really hope I catch you guys in the Facebook group. Thanks again for the support, and have a good night.